Welcome back to the Webby O'Neill channel. A jam-packed show for you today. Updates from Erik ten Hag's press conference. A little bit of transfer news coming from Dan Ashworth. And the latest from Fabrizio Romano is that Chelsea have agreed a fee, or submitted a bid, actually, for Jadon Sancho. I don't want to push it too far, but I'm sure that news will change as the day goes on. But first of all, your first reactions to Erik ten Hag's press conference.
Well, he talks about Scott McTominay. As we know, it could be approved at any moment now, Scott McTominay to Napoli. He clearly wanted Scott McTominay to stay. He also understood why he had to be sold, and that was the academies. They bring in the money. He's accepting it, but he's not happy.
Yeah, Scott McTominay, obviously he's an academy player, like Ten Hag stated in his press conference. Is this a trend like we're going to see now going forward, where they're pushing these academy players into the first team squad, but then start selling them for £10, £15 million?
I think it's needs must. United need the money. They see the way to bring it in. Obviously PSR and the way the money goes with the clubs now, they get the full money, and it goes against the balance sheet. So that's the way it is. I think these young players, academy players, understand it. They're brought through to try and get to the top of the tree, playing for Manchester United. But there's also other paths for them. So I don't think they're left out in the cold. They know the rules. They know the game. Erik ten Hag now knows the game. Unfortunately for him, Scott McTominay has been taken away from him. You all know out there that I like Scott McTominay. I think he's a good squad player. And I think we're actually going to be short of Scott McTominays now that you see that Mason Mount's injured and any other injuries what come along. So unfortunately, he's gone. Erik ten Hag, he's not happy, but he understands it and he's going to deal with it.
Yeah, we'll probably see this a lot more, though, going forward in the future, where it's more of a club decision on buying and selling players, more so than the managers, because it was clearly a decision from maybe your likes of Dan Ashworth, Wilcox, etc., in getting McTominay out the door.
Yeah, I think what you see from Dan Ashworth and the other backroom people what have been brought in, they're going to push for value, whereas United have seen players go out there and lose value of these youngsters. You look at Manchester City, how they capitalise on their youngsters. They're getting mega money. That's how I see it. And United are failing to do that. But this new regime now, they will capitalise on it. A lot of money has been spent inside this club at the moment. A lot of money has been lost. And they're now in a transition where they're going to bring money into the club and they're going to utilise these young players. And Scott McTominay, 22 years, DNA of Man United at this club. Absolutely outstanding career here. And I wish him well.
What do you think of Ten Hag's comments about Alan Shearer?
Alan Shearer, yeah. He was asked, I couldn't believe it, to be honest with you. He was asked a question about Alan Shearer's comments about Marcus Rashford, criticising Marcus Rashford, and he snapped back. I think it's been long overdue, the way he snapped back. Slaughtered, didn't slaughter him.
I tell you what, I've actually got the actual quotes here of what Erik ten Hag said in the press conference. And he said on Marcus Rashford, "I'm very happy with Rasha in pre-season against Fulham, against Brighton. I didn't take him off because of his performances. We needed rotation. It was a stupid analysis from Shearer, in this case, from this pundit."
Well, Shearer was talking about his positioning. Being caught offside and that. And unfortunately, there is a nickname for Marcus Rashford, and it's offside Rashford. That's what's going around. Whether it's fair or not, that's for you to judge. But his analysis there of Rashford, it goes back a long time that he was trying to criticise Rashford and Erik ten Hag 7 months ago. I looked at the video and he has gone in on Erik ten Hag. And I think this was just an opportunity, what was given to him by the question about Alan Shearer slagging off Marcus Rashford, and he jumped straight on it to go back at Alan Shearer and call him stupid. So from now on, as far as I'm concerned, Alan Stupid Shearer, that's his name, and he did go at him. But I've
got to be honest with you, though, from what I've heard off Alan Shearer, I actually don't think he's actually really said much out of a turn of what normal Man United, not normal, but United fans I've spoken to have said about Marcus Rashford, and comments that you actually see on the channel.
No, I understand. I agree with you on that, but I'm just looking back in time where Alan Shearer has gone at Erik ten Hag. That is not fit. That is not good enough to run this club. That's how I see it. And he was given an opportunity to call Alan Shearer stupid. And I think that's what it's about.
I think it's all stemmed from the FA Cup final after it as well, when you had Lineker Shearer with Erik ten Hag questioning him about his job as well. And he's took this first opportunity, ten Hag,
he did.
And he's took it with both fans to fire back. So on that front, I can't actually blame him, you know, for coming out and saying what he did about Shearer. But, you know, some of the things I've seen with Shearer are talking about Marcus Rashford. I can't really call him for it because, like I say, a lot of Manchester United fans have said similar or even worse about Rashford.
Listen, what Shearer said about Rashford, I've said some of the things about Rashford, and like I say, it was an opportunity for Erik ten Hag, which he doesn't often get, to be honest, to go at Shearer. And it's not to do with the criticism of Marcus Rashford. It's to do with other things in the past. And like Kieron says, that cup final, that BBC people with Lineker and Shearer, they were, as far as I was concerned, it was diabolical the way they were talking and spoke to Erik ten Hag. So it was a chance, and he jumped at it, and it was good.
Yeah, I don't think it's the last time you'll see or hear of a little spat there against anyone working from the BBC, especially that day with Lineker. So hopefully Lineker's on his hit list as well, because I can't stand the bloke personally. No. But that's just my own opinion. But he talked about Jadon Sancho as well, and he said he's playing in the squad and we're happy with him. We need a good squad. We need a good squad depth. We're happy to play many more games. Well, we have to play many more games up until January after the break and every other third day. So we do need options in the squad. And he was then asked if he'll stay at Manchester United. And he said, as far as I know, yeah. But we've got updates from Fabrizio, which are basically saying that Chelsea have put a bid in for Sancho. So,
well,
yeah.
Erik ten Hag talking about Sancho goes against everything what's out there from the last few weeks, the last couple of months. Sancho has to go. Sancho wants to go. Sancho doesn't fit in the club. And Erik ten Hag was totally talking the opposite, especially from the news this morning and the latest news about Sancho. Offers are going in on Sancho from Chelsea. That's the latest. He's saying, I expect him to stay. So I don't know what he's talking about. I don't know why he's coming out like that. To me, he might just be trying to clear it or smooth it over if he doesn't go today. Obviously, it closes late on tonight and there's conversations going on. Conversations I'm happy to go on. I can't believe that someone is coming in at this late stage to try and take Sancho. So if he goes, I'll be happy. But for Erik ten Hag to say he's happy for him to stay, that's clearly not the truth. But I think he's just being diplomatic. So the quicker Sancho gets that deal done today, if it's possible, and it is a big if. So we'll keep you up with the news as the day goes on, and hopefully we'll get it in time to be able to do a video for you. But clearly, Erik ten Hag is just being diplomatic in anything he said today. We need a good squad. Sancho is not a good squad player.
Okay, the update from Fabrizio Romano was that Chelsea submit an official bid to Manchester United for Sancho. He understands it's an initial loan proposal, similar to the terms offered by Juventus, but the total package is higher. Sancho is open and keen to join in Chelsea, and it's up to the both clubs now to decide. Well,
if United turn round and do this loan deal with Sancho, I'll be baffled. And I'm sure a lot of people will. When United were adamant they wanted him sold, there was no such thing as a loan deal. And I did say, and I've said all week, that Sancho, the only way he'll get out of this club is by a loan deal. United want the money, they're not going to get it. I've always said that. So a loan deal, last day, seems logical to me. So I hope they get it done. Just get him out of the club. We don't need him round. Obviously, United, there'll be talk about payments. Will United be paying part of the wages and all that? I'm sure they will. They'll just want him out of the squad, regardless of what Erik ten Hag said today.
Yeah, I think on Sancho, it'd be great if we can get a loan with an obligation to buy, because if it's a loan with an option to buy, you can see Sancho probably being carted back to Manchester United in January. It wouldn't surprise me. So, look, it's beggars and choosers here. It's the last day of the transfer window,
last
only
day.
a few hours left. It looks like Chelsea are in the strongest position to sign Sancho on a loan. So let's hope that the suits behind the scenes can actually get a deal done where it's an obligation to buy for Jadon Sancho, because he's not needed here. He's clearly not in the future plans of the manager or people actually inside the club. So, yeah, if they can get this deal done, yeah, I think it's a good transfer window.
I think at this late stage, to get an obligation to buy is going to be very tricky. I think if they get the loan deal done, I think that'll be it, to be honest with you. Anything else, they might have a talk in January or over the season. But to get him, let's get him out. Let's just get him out of the squad. Let's get him a new atmosphere going at Manchester United. There's lots of youngsters in here. They don't need it. This is like the deadwood. We need him out, and United aren't going to be happy at not getting a fee for him. And then you look at it going into, if he does go out on loan, then you look at it next year. There's no fee next year. There is no price on Jadon Sancho next year unless he turns it up and performs at Chelsea. I don't expect that. I think there's many other players at Chelsea what are miles better than Jadon Sancho, what aren't even in the first 11. I think it's going to be very difficult for him. I don't clearly understand why they want to look at Jadon Sancho, but that's their problem, okay? And they can have that problem as far as I'm concerned. It's baffling to me why Chelsea want him. But, hey, they might see something in him that none of us can see in him.
Yeah, just going to dive into the chat. Andy B says, Shearer's just jealous of Teddy Sheringham, who came to Man United and he won the lot. Gray says, Erik ten Hag won't drop Rashford until we are relegated.
Well, I've got to jump.
I'm sorry, I'm just like lost of words to that. Yeah, go on.
I don't think he was being serious on it. I think what he's trying to say is Rashford's just not getting dropped, and he doesn't understand why he's not getting dropped when he's not performing. You know, you look at him looking down the line, getting caught offside and that, and then you look at Rashford and you think to yourself, you're not really working as hard as certain other players. We've all criticised him for that. So we don't understand fully. And it is baffling why Erik ten Hag keeps playing him and starting him.
I've always said, and you've got to look at modern day footballers, especially like with the top high profile players, there's certain terms in the contract,
yes,
maybe where they've got to play a certain amount of games. We've had it for years gone by with goal bonuses, appearances, etc. And I've always thought in the back of my mind, is there something in Rashford's contract? And this is just an opinion. That's all it is. That there's something in his contract that states he's got to play a certain amount of games. That would not surprise me, because that contract he signed, it was huge. A huge amount of money that sets him up for life here, especially while he's in a Manchester United shirt. And it wouldn't surprise me, especially with all the commercial stuff we do off the pitch as well, and they do with some of the players like promoting the football club as well. And he's always been there at the forefront of it, Rashford, in a lot of the media stuff.
He's the pin-up boy.
Yeah,
he's the pin-up boy of Manchester United.
Could be totally wrong, but it's just an opinion based on what you're seeing on the pitch in terms of performances. At any other club, really, he'd probably be dropped. Well, can't get in the England team, not a sniff of it. So why is he fit enough to put a United shirt on and start every single game?
I mean, what you're saying about in his contracts and that, many other United fans out there have said it, so it's not just your opinion, it's many United fans' opinion. They believe there's something in there. But for Rashford to keep playing like he is for the period of time he's been not performing, and I always go back to Newcastle away when we got beat 1-0. For me, he should have been dropped and got out of the club, because that's showing you what his attitude was. But the thing is, there is something seriously wrong when no other manager would have put up with any player not performing week in, week out and putting the guts. You have to put it in on the pitch, right, for the club, for the team and for your teammates. That's what you have to do, and especially for the fans. And Rashford's attitude hasn't been what it should be. And I don't understand, and many people don't understand, why he keeps getting picked. One day we might find out, but at the moment it's just scratch of the head time.
I've got to say, though, on Sunday against Liverpool, I think it's nailed on for Rashford to put in a performance. I really do think it's nailed on against our biggest rivals, Liverpool.
Yeah, well, listen, let's hope so. That's what you want. You want to see him do it and then hope that he can turn it round and things have changed. We've only played 2 games, so you just don't know. Not just with Rashford, with 1 or 2 other players as well.
Of course.
So, you know, he was talking.
Anthony in there as well. He needs to buck up his ideas. But I'm just going to go into the chat. Life O'Reilly says, imagine if Sancho stays, he has to go today. Trevor says, Shearer was out of order with his comments after the FA Cup. A. Pugh says, reset at United now. No more mugging us off. And Sam Wise, cheers for your super chat. He says, yes, boys. Hope you're both well. How do you rate the window? And are you looking forward to the game on Sunday? Definitely looking forward to that game, mate.
Yeah,
Hope you are as well.
I rate the window 8 out of 10, to be honest with you, because obviously Ugarte, we're expecting that to be announced and shown in his United shirt with the United officials today. So hopefully that runs smoothly. So the transfer window for me is 8 out of 10. There's just 1 or 2 things I would still like 2 players in, but you know, we're all greedy when it comes to it. We want more and more. So 8 out of 10. But going into that Liverpool game, it's the same squad. Erik Ten Hag confirmed that today, obviously without Mason Mount. So I'm looking forward to it. And talking about the Liverpool game while we're on it, Erik Ten Hag did say, he was asked the question, and it was basically like trying to compare him to Arne Slot. He was having none of it today on Arne Slot, right? He inherited a squad, a good squad and everything. That's what he was saying about Arne Slot. He's got everything.
Yeah, I've got the actual quotes here from his press conference. Yeah. And he said about Slot's start at Liverpool compared to his own era at Manchester United. And he said the players, the partnerships, the relationships in that team are very clear. And he inherited that from the past years. But I have already seen some of the things that he has brought in. Yeah,
well, he was being defiant. He was like saying, hey, you've got it easy,
you've got everything over there. You've inherited it. Like,
you've had a silver spoon given you. You've just walked into a really good squad, okay, which needs just a little bit of motivation.
Basically, as well, he's putting pressure on him to say, well, really, you should be able to succeed with this squad of what's already been built for you.
Yeah, but he's pointing out the differences.
Bit of mind games.
Yeah, proper mind games. He was pointing out the differences of what it was like when Erik Ten Hag walked in. It was carnage. We all know it was carnage. Everything was going on. And then you had Ronaldo going on with himself. That didn't help. It made it 10 times worse. So he's explaining that this club, Manchester United, has been in turmoil for a decade. And he's just walked in to a club what's right up there with a squad, what all know each other, what all work for each other and have won things. So it's put it right on Arne Slot. And the pressure really is on Liverpool. And when you look at the pressure, Man United are 3-1. To win at home against Liverpool. Now, you know, with a Liverpool game, it doesn't matter the form. It can go out the window. Anything can happen. But 3-1, for me, winning at home. And I do believe we'll beat Liverpool at home. I think the 2 games they've had have not been the hardest games for them. So, United at home against Liverpool, I think we're going to do it.
Yeah. I do. I've got to be confident. You've got to look at when we have played Liverpool last season. Obviously, it's a new manager and it's going to be a good marker to see not where we're going to finish, but going. You just want us to get a big lift from it. Obviously, it's a big rivalry against Liverpool, and yeah, I am really confident. Let me know what you think about the Liverpool game on Sunday. But I'm just going to let them all know as well what he said about building the team at United and the process he's undertaking. And he said we had to build, we have to construct, and we have to perform to bring us to the higher levels. We did this with transfers, but also by bringing in the academy players into this team. We are still in a transition stage.
Yeah.
We have the young players, academy players, and now we have to construct the team for the future. Are we in that phase?
Well, he turns round about we are more of a mix, and he talks about the youngsters and the established players there. And we are in transition. We asked, I mean, how many times have people said
is the thing.
We're in transition?
I know.
Right? But the thing is, we've got the youngsters coming through. We know it's working in the background because of the success the youngsters have had, and they're coming through and they're actually playing good football. They're not taking 12 months. So we've got a couple of youngsters in and we've got more youngsters to bring in. So he talks about the transition. He talks about the mix and bringing in more youngsters. So there is a difference between Liverpool and Manchester United, but you have to go back to what Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos have said. This is going to take a few years. So I'm with it, me. I understand what's going on. I just wish we'd have had one or two more players to help these youngsters come in this transfer window, because it is a big ask. And this is the big ask. This is the one, the Liverpool game.
Yeah, really looking forward to it. I can see in the chat a lot of Man United fans are too. One player who won't be there, even on the bench, and that's Agati. Missed the deadline at 12 p.m. on Friday to get his registration done.
Yeah, well, I thought he might be in the squad and might play, but unfortunately it's not done. I just hope it's nothing untoward what's going on. Everything seems to have been done. This morning, everyone was expecting and waiting. We was waiting for Ugarte to be brought out, but there's no sign of him at the moment. Let us know if there is. We'll soon get on it, but maybe something's going wrong here. I hope not, but we've seen things go pear-shaped before.
Yeah, Danny Blackburn, it's the biggest game for me, us versus them. Totally agree with that, my mate. The Yorkshire Cowboy, these strikers won't get us top four, just saying. Oh, we don't know. We're only 2 games into it. Let's be a bit more positive, I would say.
Yeah, there's no harm in being positive. And I do understand top four. I think United will get 5th. But you have to go into this Liverpool game hoping that the Brighton game can be put behind us. And when you look at the Brighton game, moments, and you think to yourself, if that second goal would have gone in, we wouldn't have been like going on as we did. Being upset after the Brighton game. So you hope that they've got it behind them. You hope Ten Hag and the coaching staff have worked on them and the players are ready. There's only one player what came out of that conversation today with Erik Ten Hag what won't be ready. Obviously, Mason Mount, we know he's out. Is Højlund. He won't be ready for a while. When he was talking about Højlund, when he was back, he wasn't really putting a timeline on it. We've got to do this, we've got to do that. Yeah, then he's got to train and then he's got to get match fit. It wasn't as though, like, it's a week after the international that he'll be back on the pitch training. It was like, I haven't got a clue here. That's how it looked to me. And that has got to be the big worry going in to the international week and thinking, is Højlund ready to come back?
I have seen a Højlund training actually at Carrington on the grass, but in individual, just like Malacia. Yeah. So for me, I don't think it'll be too long after the actual international break and get him back into the team. But again, we've played 2 games without a recognised striker up top. So just for me at the moment, we've got to be positive about goals. And Højlund and Xerxes getting the goals because they've not actually started any games yet. And for me, you know, the problems as well with last year, it was all about the midfielders, the wide players, not really servicing Højlund enough when he was getting in the positions anyway. So for me, that has to change. And if that changes, well, there's no excuses from the centre forwards. But I think we've got 2 forwards there who are capable enough to put the ball in the back of the net. So I'm not too worried about that. It's the midfield I'm worried about, and that centre midfield area, that Mainu and Casemiro won't be able to last a full Premier League season, domestic cups, Europa League, starting them 2 every game. It's just not going to happen. So then what's the depth like behind that? Is it strong enough? For me, it's not strong enough. And it's going to be a real tight push getting into that top 4.
Of course it's going to be a tight push, but the thing is we've got bigger worries this weekend, right? What the setup's going to be. And I've got to say, and lots of people like that, Xerxes got to start and De Ligt has got to start. Them 2 needs to start. The midfield will take care of itself. Yes, we've all got worries about Casemiro's legs holding out. But hey, after last week, he might pep up. Let's hope so. The midfield needs sorting out. We know that it is a worry that they get caught open. But this weekend, I think everyone will get a big lift if Xerxes starts and De Ligt starts. I think that will be a big lift. And going into Liverpool, listen, the more and more I think about the Liverpool game, and if them 2 start, I think the mood in the camp is just going to go, let's go at these, let's take risk, let's get down the line, let's take people on, let's get behind them. That's the feeling I'm getting. Yeah. And we did talk about Rashford at the beginning, and if he shows signs of wanting to get behind the defence and running and tracking back and helping out and being part of the team, which he's not really been showing that he's part of the team. Marcus Rashford seems to be part of himself, but Xerxes and De Ligt want to be part of this squad. So I think they should be in. They have to be in. We need that boost after getting beat against Brighton. The mood was terrible. We went on for days. So let's hope that's lifted.
Sorry, I was having a laugh in the chat. Some people with Erik ten Hag outers, obviously the people who want Erik ten Hag as the manager and actually back the manager and see him as the right manager for this club. I was having a little bit of a tiff in the chat.
Well, but, can I just get on the Erik ten Hag thing?
Of course you can. You do what you want.
Right. The people going on about they want Erik ten Hag out, he's not good enough, and people want him in and that. Look,
sorry, can I interrupt? A lot of people are saying it'll be his stubbornness that will get him sacked. But can you just make it clear what sort of stubbornness you've seen from Erik ten Hag and what will get him the sacked? I can guarantee someone will say playing Rashford every week.
Listen, Erik ten Hag's going to toe the line. He's towing the line with Scott McTominay. Okay, so he has to give and take, right? But one thing about Erik ten Hag, the decisions aren't all made now by Erik ten Hag. It doesn't all fall on his shoulder. He's part of a team. Now, this is his third year here, and I expect Erik ten Hag to improve in every way. He's got the right people there. That's what you want to see. That one thing, what won't do Erik ten Hag any good, right, is if they start performing badly. They can't perform badly. They should know how to play football. They should know how to work together. That's how I look at Erik ten Hag this year. And if it goes pear-shaped for him and he doesn't get a style of football and we don't get entertained, then quite rightly, I think they'll look at him.
I'll tell you what, it's proper going off. It's actually making me laugh. But yeah, just try and keep it civil, though. Look,
no swearing.
You've all got different opinions, and it's right that you've got different opinions, but get it in the chat, but no like personal abuse or anything like that, because there's a lot of people who live in the mum's basement, etc. You're all just kids who are ten Hag outers, etc. So just try and keep it a little bit civil. It is football. I know we're all passionate about it.
Yeah, it's a disgrace going on about getting Erik ten Hag out now. Anyone wishing to get Erik ten Hag out, look, this is a new season, right? You need to sort of like get an adult conversation on you, okay, about what you want to see from Erik ten Hag instead of saying, this, I want him out. He's not going out, he's here. Okay, so use a bit of common sense when discussing Erik ten Hag. That's what we're here for. That's what we want to do. We don't want to like scream here and scream there. Erik ten Hag out, Erik ten Hag in. We talk about it. We converse and we try to get our opinions across of how we see things. That's what you should be doing, especially when you're talking about Erik ten Hag. Don't join the idiots in the world what's out there screaming about Erik ten Hag. It's not going to happen. And if it does happen, then we'll all know it because we'll all see it with our own eyes.
Because a lot of people who say Erik ten Hag, they're always the buzzword that they go to is standards. Where's your standards? This is Manchester United. We should be winning the Premier League every season. But is it also about, like, you know, perspective of where this club's at and the way it's been run for the last 10, 15 years? It's not about us not wanting us to win the league. It's a matter of just looking at reality and seeing where we are and being realistic, but also knowing and wanting to get back to the top where we should be challenging again, because this club is huge.
Everyone wants to be at the top, but everyone can't be there. We know that. What you have to look at is you look at what's gone on with United. You look at what Erik ten Hag's gone in the 2 years, and now you have to look forward and say, hey, going forward, it's positive. Will Erik ten Hag be able to do the job what we all want? And that's to challenge and win things. That time will come, but at this moment, I can't see that happening because it's a transition, as we say, right? But you can't turn around and say Erik ten Hag must leave now. You just can't do that. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. The job is hard enough. Now, the people inside Manchester United, they're behind him now. The right people are in, and you have to look forward to. Now, listen, if it goes pear-shaped against Liverpool, right, what are you going to do? Oh, Erik ten Hag out. What's the point? That doesn't make sense. They're all working together for a plan. So going forward, they all know what they've got to do. One game just doesn't make it. But unfortunately, we have people out there. Some people are even trolls or whatever they call them, right? Erik ten Hag out every time, no matter what he does. So, hey, we try to have a conversation with the people out there and they try and ask us sensible questions. But reacting and going on like that does no one any good.
Yeah, and, you know, well, Sir Jim Ratcliffe said last season, didn't he? Was it around about February? It'll take roughly about 3 years for Man United to be challenging again. And you would like to think after, well, in the next 3 years and onwards, that we won't hear so many words of it's a process, it's a transition again, because very well-run football clubs make the right decisions behind the scenes. We've just seen it and heard it from Erik ten Hag about Scott McTominay.
Yeah.
That's a club decision. Yeah. And the more club decisions that are made are going to be the best ones for even if Erik ten Hag does leave Manchester United, all the club have then got to do is going to get a manager to adapt and want to play the playing style that the club want them to play. So the managers' actual styles aren't chopping and changing with every single manager that's been sacked like we have had done for the amount of, well, for the last 10 years or so. So the playing style is always going to be a set style, and it's just about getting another manager in to coach that.
That's right.
So it's not another 3 years, 4 years of a transition and a process.
It's someone who can walk in, just like the Brighton way. I did talk about it last week, about Brighton. No matter what manager comes in or how long he's been there, they're still playing the same type of football. Yeah. So their DNA in the background, what they've been working on for years, is the style of football. So when a new manager comes in, whether he's been sacked or he's walked out or for whatever reason, he just walks in, there's the style of football. He knows what he's got to do. The system's there, and it's easy to carry on. That's what Ineos want. Yeah. So with Erik ten Hag, he's just on the start of it now. Ineos have only been in 8 months. So for me, Erik ten Hag, and Sir Jim Ratcliffe did say it, he was doing everything. But a lot of the things he was doing wrong because he had no help. Now he's got everything. Everything's in place. So is it Erik ten Hag? And whatever manager does come in, the system's there. So there's no worries going forward. And that big word again, 3 years. 3 years, that's what we've been told. And I'm looking at Erik ten Hag. This is his 3rd year. Let's hope he gets on with it.
Yeah, the thing is, though, a lot of people, the act as though Arteta's not finished out of the top 4, Klopp didn't finish out the top 4, etc. Erik ten Hag's come in a really poorly run football club and managed to get us 2 trophies as well.
Yes.
So with this backing that he's now got behind him, he does need to succeed. There is pressure on him, of course there is. And if he doesn't succeed, well, I'm sure Ineos would look for changes.
Yeah, and
if he's not like looking to progress the squad. This squad needs to progress this season.
Oh yes, without a doubt.
You know, if we don't see an actual, I don't like using this term, style of play, but if we don't see an actual entertaining game of football consistently, you know, questions will be asked, especially if we start shipping goals left, right and centre, 20, 30 shots a game on our goal. That will need to be addressed.
Well, quite rightly, questions will be asked because Erik ten Hag has got the right people in place. 3 years, that's what I'm looking for, to win something. And at this moment, Erik ten Hag's there, and people shouting for him out or anything like that doesn't make sense. Just does not make sense when you hear the words of the people what are running the football club. Doesn't make sense whatsoever. The time is at the end of the season. They'll look at it and say, is he doing the job behind the scenes, what you and I can't see, and is he doing it right? And if he's doing it right, then Erik ten Hag stays. And if he's doing it wrong, then we move off, get another manager, bring him in. There's the style of football, crack on with it. That's how I see it.
Yeah, Peter Davenport says we all need to be patient. We are our own worst enemies sometimes. Thought Crime says, why would anyone think Erik ten Hag will suddenly get it right?
Why? Because the right people are in place. Ineos have brought them in. That's why. And before Ineos came in, it was utter carnage. And as you've said, if you don't listen, right, then there's something wrong. Ineos have told you he had to do everything, fixing the leaks in the roof, the lot. That's how they see it. Now the right people are in place. And when the right people are in place behind you, what you must do is give them time. And that's exactly what Sir Jim Ratcliffe has done. He's given time, but he won't give him forever. So this year he has to do it. And if he's not doing it, they'll clearly see that.
Dan Ashworth also said today on his life at Man United so far, he says he loves it. It's a fantastic opportunity for me. It's a brilliant football club to be involved in. And I've loved every minute of our first 8 weeks. And I'm looking forward to the season ahead. And he was also then asked if this Man United squad is equipped for the season. And he said, we will be well equipped. We're pleased with the squad. And we're ready to go.
Well, that's it. Everyone's happy. Everyone behind the scenes is happy. Okay, there might be 1 or 2 little moans and that, but we're equipped to go. So everything is set in place to go. The football and to get up there and to improve on last year. They want to see improvement on last year. We all do. He's happy. He just sounds like a kid in a sweet shop. But then that's what I would be like. Get me inside there to be part of Manchester United, whether I was working in there or playing on the pitch or anything like that. I would be like a kid in a sweet shop, and he is the same. So that's good to see. Every day's a great day. That's what he's basically saying. But unfortunately, some of the players, what you see out there, when you look at them, you think to yourself, why aren't you happy? You're at Manchester United. It's one of the biggest clubs in the world. I believe it's the biggest club in the world, and they should be over the moon to play there, skip in there. But some of these players don't seem to do that. But hey, that attitude's going to change. They're not going to put up with it. Dan Ashworth's happy going into work. Everyone else should be happy going into work. Yeah,
definitely. Alex 92 says, but how long do we actually give Erik ten Hag? We always said at the start, 3 seasons. And if he's not really progressed in that 3rd season, well, it needs to be looked at, because surely in modern day football, that's long enough to, to build a squad and put a stamp on this team in the way he wants to play.
Yeah, everything's changed. Ineos are in. This year, it's going to turn around. Everything's in there. Dan Ashworth's just said it. We're happy with the squad. Everything's there. The coaches are brought in. So how long do you give Erik ten Hag? Well, how long do you think Ineos and Sir Jim Ratcliffe will? If everything's there and they see that he's not doing the right work, they will get rid of him. Ratcliffe is ruthless. He won't hang about. If the system is there for good football and everything, and we're not seeing it, as Ineos see it, then what will happen to Erik ten Hag? They'll say, you're not doing the job proper, and they'll remove him. That's how it is. So it's not down to how long will Erik ten Hag have. If he doesn't do it this year, to the system, what's going on, and to how everyone wants to do it, he will end up getting the bullet at the end of the year. That's a fact.
Yeah, Derek MUFC says, what kind of issues could be causing the Agate announcement today? I've got to be honest, in the back of my brain, I thought, hopefully he's not got an injury or something like that.
Well, I've been thinking about it for a few hours now, and I am concerned. I am concerned. I thought he would have been done now. So there might be something going on here. Whether it's paperwork, which is an actual thing, it does happen. So let's just hope it's paperwork not been finalised. No shouts about the medical being wrong or anything like that. So you just got to cross your fingers and hope that it is just paperwork, what needs to be sorted out.
Yeah, like I say, it just sticks in the back of your head sometimes with United players.
It's a worry.
Especially with injuries, etc. But I've seen some reports from Fabrizio earlier on saying he's already signed. So maybe United are just waiting for a certain time in the day with the transfer window still going on to try and take over that transfer news, because by the sounds of it, it is going to be our last transfer inside the club, but we've still got Jadon Sancho to hopefully, in my opinion, to leave the club and maybe go to Chelsea in this window. So it's the one big announcement.
Yeah, it's the one big announcement, and I believe it's the last signing anyway. So they might leave it till late on tonight. Once the transfer window's closed, the Jadon Sancho noise has gone and all these other noises have gone, and that, at the end of the day, he will be the big signing, the big news. Ugarte signs, and they might want to leave it till the transfer window closes. One thing about the transfer window...
Do you know what? Sorry, he makes a good point in the chat. Richard says, the Scotty move has not been completed.
No.
MUFC need the money for Agate, so maybe that is what they're actually waiting for. Until Scott McTominay crosses the I's and dots the T's, that's when they'll make Agate official, because they're using that money for that purchase.
There you go. That's a good point.
Mate.
That's a really good point. Something I didn't think of.
Yeah.
I've had too much in my head, but that is a good point, and that might be the reason why it's being held up. So the Scott McTominay thing... get it over the line, and then we'll be happy.
Yeah, we will be happy, but there's still a few hours left of this transfer window, and we're going to roll on for another 2 or 3 hours here at Hotel Football, because we do think there's going to be some real updates regarding Jadon Sancho, possibly some more news as well around players coming in or going out of the club. So if you want to get that notification on and you are free later on today, please get it on, and we'll try and get back and do a live video shortly. I'd just like to thank you all as well, getting involved in the chat as well. At one point it was going a little bit pear-shaped. We all had a little chat with ourselves, and then it went back to just football and opinions, which is the right thing to do. Okay?
It is the right thing to do. I'm just thinking there, about the Scott McTominay and that going. you know, something might come up with Lindelof this late hour. That might happen. And I always thought Eriksen might go, but he should have gone at the beginning of the transfer window. So for him to go now, that would be a surprise. I think the squad's there. And like Ashworth said, he's happy with the squad. But I do think that Lindelof one might just come. I go back to his missus, picture him. She had her bags ready. She knows. You know what these women are like when they move in and all that. They're in charge, and quite rightly so. So they've got the bags packed. That's telling you what's happening.
She actually said on the picture on Instagram, "Here we go," which is Fabrizio Romano's catchphrase, as most of us will know. But for me personally, I don't think Lindelof's going anywhere, and I don't think any club will take a punt on him, especially while he's injured. But let's wait and see. Hopefully there is some more transfer news. It'd be great to get a centre midfielder in, but I think I'm wishing there, and I'm wishing a bit too hard, but I still think we've had a very positive transfer window. But like I say, thanks for joining us, everyone. Chat's been popping off as usual, and we'll see you again later on today. Thank you.
Thank you.